on the streets of Auburn, California, in the summer of 1983. A young teenager is looking for trouble.
Cindy was somebody you would never want to get on the bad side of.
Think you're better than me, huh?
People were afraid of Cindy.
I'll kill you, you stupid bitch.
15-year-old Cindy Collier is angry at the world for the hurt she has already experienced in her short life.
Cindy had been abused and raped before she was even 10 years old. She hated people, and she wanted to make them pay basically for the sins of others.
In and out of trouble, Cindy is well known to police.
It started out with fairly petty crimes, shoplifting, bullying of other students, and then it escalated to a theft of an automobile. She was on her way up in terms of escalating to a little bit higher crime.
The girls with so much in common become instant soulmates.
It was a match made in hell. They were perfect for each other. In the other one, they saw themselves, and they liked what they saw. It made their behavior okay.
Just hours after meeting, Cindy and Shirley start planning a life together on the road.
Gotta get out of here.
I think Shirley was feeling increasingly hopeless and helpless.
You wanna go? Getting out of here is easy. Really? Yeah. I've done it loads of times.
Cindy, on the other hand, I think was just in a place of pure rebellion.
We could steal a car, go on a road trip.
Cindy was the one who said, I think we need to run away. In order to do that, we need a car.
I know a place where there's loads of old people living.
We will need to find someone who is very old and infirm, because that way they can't fight back. And as a matter of fact, we're probably going to have to kill them, because that way they won't be able to rat on us to the cops.
The abused children now want to be the abusers.
Shirley, as she did over and over in her life, pretty much said, oh, okay. If that's what you want to do, that's what we'll do.
When Cindy and Shirley met, it was only a matter of hours before they decided to kill a stranger. This was lightning speed, and I think it speaks to how rageful and ready to explode both of these young teenage women were.
The girls dye their hair in a childish attempt to disguise themselves.
They were both very jaunty, and they were both almost cocky.
Hunting for a perfect victim, they go knocking on doors in the suburb of Auburn Greens, where Cindy once lived.
Shirley and Cindy weren't stupid. They knew they probably couldn't handle killing an able-bodied adult male.
Yes?
Hi, can we please use your phone?
No, I'm sorry, my phone's not working.
Screw you, Grandpa. Come on.
After several failed attempts, they strike it lucky.
They finally knocked on the door of what would become for them the perfect victim. A helpless, frail, kind, and trusting little old lady.
Hello, what can I do for you, girls?
85-year-old Anna Brackett lives alone.
Hi, could you please help us? We need to call our parents, and the phone on the street's not working.
Sure, come on in. You're welcome. Come through.
The grandmother is more than happy to help two young girls. kind offer will be her last.
Hello. What can I do for you girls?
They want the ultimate revenge for their miserable lives. They con their way into the home of unsuspecting 85-year-old Anna Brackett.
Some killers have said they didn't really want to know anything about their victim because it made it harder to kill them.
It's a lovely photo.
That wasn't the case for Shirley and Cindy. They sat and chatted with this very nice woman for an hour.
And this is another one of my husband and I.
Doesn't mean they didn't want to kill her. I think they were working up the courage.
Hello, Carl. Yes?
The
In
small
about an
talk
hour.
comes to an
Oh, thank
abrupt
you.
end.
That was my son, Carl. He's going to take me out.
It's time.
Cindy went into the kitchen, grabbed a knife, and tossed it to Shirley. Cindy definitely was the controller. Shirley was the submissive one.
When teenage girls kill, they can be very, very vicious, much more vicious than adult women. They have a tremendous amount of pent-up anger and rage. It's as if they're wild animals when they're alone with someone they want to kill.
There would be an incredible amount of pain associated with stabbing, with the cutting of one's soft tissues, and driving the blade all the way through. The knife could have hit bone, and we know that nerves run alongside the bone, and that could have been incredibly painful.
Shirley had indicated that something that Mrs. Brackett had said was, "I'm dying," and Shirley said, "Good." Mrs. Brackett ended up being stabbed 28 times, but the coroner could not verify that it was only 28 because so many of the stab wounds may have had multiple entry points.
Only hours after meeting for the first time, Cindy and Shirley, barely in their teens, become baby-faced killers. All their anger about their childhood abuse is directed at an innocent old lady.
It was an acting out of their own internal rages and their own sense of helplessness.
After Anna's body is found by her son, police start knocking on doors themselves and hear about the two loud redheads.
They were kind of harassing other people. They basically left a lot of testimony by witnesses.
The girls never steal a car and run away. Instead, they return to Cindy's family home.
Shirley writes in a journal, "We killed an old lady today, and it was fun." She had no remorse, and she wanted the world to know.
Shirley's wish comes true. The murder makes the evening news.
They watched the news of the murder of Mrs. Brackett and then went to sleep.
Cindy's a familiar face in the victim's neighborhood. She used to live there, and her name is on everyone's lips.
Cindy was recognized, but the law enforcement did not believe that they were involved in the crime. They thought that at the very least, perhaps, they might be witnesses.
Later that night, police arrive at Cindy's home.
They separated the two girls just simply to talk to them individually. And Shirley immediately said, "We did it," to the detective. He thought he couldn't really be hearing what he was hearing, but he was.
July 1983. A juvenile court finds Cindy Collier and Shirley Wolf guilty of murder.
They were proud of murdering Anna. They felt entitled to murder Anna, and they wanted to take credit for it.
The teenagers both received the maximum sentence under California state law for young offenders: incarceration until their 25th birthday.
I know that Shirley has continued to be in trouble with the law, not excessively serious trouble. Prostitution, some theft, burglaries, drug abuse. Cindy, however, has maintained a clean record. Perhaps all she needed was some time to reflect on what she had done.
Today, Cindy and Shirley are both free.
Loser!
They could be living in a neighborhood near you. It's a parent's worst nightmare, losing a newborn baby.
It'll be okay, baby. Try again.
Would you like to hold your baby?
But for this family, it is the start of a tragedy no one can imagine. (1972), Schenectady, New York State.
Yankees meet tonight in the deciding game of the American League.
Joe and Mary Beth Tinning can take comfort in their two surviving children, Barbara and Joseph.
Joe was very happy. Joe really wanted children, and he loved them.
What is going on back there?
But friends notice that Mary Beth doesn't take to motherhood as others do.
What do you think?
She appeared to love them.
You are so in trouble.
She didn't like to deal with the messy part of bringing up a baby, the diaper-changing, burping part, the screaming all-night part. I think she liked them only as playthings, as toys.
But Mary Beth's toys are breaking. 3 weeks after bearing their baby, their 2-year-old son, Joseph, dies, and there's no explanation.
It's terribly, terribly hard. Everybody flocked around.
All the friends and family would run in and lavish her with attention and sympathy.
Joseph was just a little angel.
Despite her tragic loss, Mary Beth seems to enjoy being fussed over.
All of a sudden, she got attention from everybody, and it made her have a purpose in life, you know? And that's why I think she really, she just fed off of that. She fed off the kids.
The family is still in mourning when their only surviving child, Barbara, contracts a mystery illness.
She seems fine now.
The doctor insists Barbara stays overnight in the hospital.
Usually, when these children are brought to the hospital and are getting good medical care, they improve.
No, I'm taking her home. She'll be much happier at home.
But Mary Beth has other ideas.
No, I want her close with me. Come on, we're going home.
Barbara is home less than an hour
Someone please help me!
before she's rushed back in critical condition.
Help her!
Before morning, she is dead.
There was nothing wrong with that child when she left here.
The nurses at both hospitals gossiped a lot about their suspicions about her. But nobody was prepared to actually face her because they couldn't have proof. Joe was very distressed when Barbara, the older child, died. But these children kind of came and went like little wraiths, you know?
The Tinnings' 3 children have died within 3 months. It's a medical mystery.
If you got 3 kids that die, you really got to be aware that something else is wrong.
Joe Tinning was the perfect foil for Mary Beth because he was so accepting of everything she said and did. You wondered how he could have his children die one after another, and never say, well, is there something you're doing wrong? One of his quotes I remember was, well, you have to believe the wife.
When people look at a woman, especially a mother, they do not ever see a killer. There must be another explanation as to why these children are dying.
Most doctors rule out SIDS because 2 of the children have passed the danger age.
Kids that are up and walking around do not die from sudden infant death syndrome.
Instead, they suspect a bad family seed.
She and Joe were sent to one of the leading children's hospitals in the country to check whether there wasn't some genetic factor.
Doctors don't find a cause for the deaths, but the Tinnings are advised not to have any more children. But that doesn't stop Mary Beth.
What are you doing?
Oh, please don't hate me, Joe. I'm pregnant again.
A year after bearing her 3rd child, she's pregnant again.
Please, I can do this. We can.
And the cycle of life and death will continue. Schenectady, New York. Mary Beth Tinning has given birth to and buried 3 children. Against her doctor's advice, she gets pregnant again. In November 1973, she gives birth to a healthy baby boy, Timothy.
Help me, somebody help me. My baby's not breathing.
He is 2 weeks old when he too is rushed to the emergency room.
They all followed the same path. Mary Beth would rush to the hospital carrying a dying or dead child and say, I found him like this in his crib. Please try and save him. She appeared terribly concerned.
Is everything okay?
My baby's not breathing.
Over the next decade, Mary Beth gives birth to 4 more children, and they all die inexplicably.
She would go from hospital to hospital. She wouldn't go to the same one over again to let somebody put the blame on her. She was smart that way.
But none of the medical professionals see what the real problem is. They don't realize Mary Beth is suffering from Munchausen by proxy.
Someone suffering from Munchausen hurts themselves to draw attention to themselves, sympathy from others. Munchausen by proxy is wherein someone hurts someone else, makes them sick, or injures them, or in this case, kills them, so that she can get attention for herself.
Mary Beth Kate followed that pattern pretty closely.
But Joe is ignorant and still wants a family. The couple decide to adopt a child, Michael. But Joe's happiness doesn't last long. Mary Beth now turns her lethal intentions on him. She tries to poison Joe with an overdose of prescription drugs. Whether she wants to kill him or just make him sick is unclear.
She finally, when he was taken ill, confessed to her brother-in-law, who rushed Joe to the hospital and got him pumped out, saved his life.
Police investigator Bill Barnes remembers questioning Joe about the poisoning.
Why did you take so many pills, Joe?
He didn't show the emotion. He might have felt it inside, but he didn't show it.
You know, you could have died.
And therefore, when I asked him, I said, you know, she tried to poison you, and he acknowledged that he thought she did. But if she did, she did, you know. It doesn't seem to bother him too much.
For some reason, Joe doesn't resent his wife's murder attempt or his children's deaths. Not even when their adopted son, Michael, home alone with Mary Beth, becomes the next victim. Once again, Mary Beth seeks medical help too late.
She called the doctors, and the nurse made an appointment for her to bring the baby in at 10. She shows up at 10 o'clock with a baby that had been dead for 2 hours.
When she had an adopted child and that child died, all of a sudden, there was no longer the possibility of this being an inherited or congenital disorder. All of a sudden, it was something in the home, and in all likelihood, it was the mom.
The Tinning children did not have a genetic disorder. They had a killer mom disorder.
Finally, after 13 years, friends and nursing staff pressure authorities to investigate the deaths of all the Tinning's children.
I told you, please just stop.
But before it commences, there's one more casualty. By now, there's no doubt these deaths were not from natural causes. The police finally bring Mary Beth in for questioning. It is Bill Barnes who gets her to talk.
First, she denied it, you know, with me. And then when I brought Joe into it and said that, he said he was stand by her, she blurted out, she said, I did it. She killed Tammy Lynn. She killed 3 of her children, Nathan, Timothy, and Tammy Lynn.
Most people believe she killed them all.
Although police suspect she killed her entire family, they only need one murder charge to lock Mary Beth Tinning away. In 1987, she is found guilty of second-degree murder of her last child, Tammy Lynn, and is sentenced to 20 years to life.
Mary Beth was astounded. I don't think it really had hit her until then that she was going to jail, and that she was going to jail for a very long time.
Mary Beth craves attention at the cost of her own blood.
23 years in jail has not changed her one whit as far as her psychic state. I have always thought she didn't belong in prison. She belonged in a psychiatric institution.
Joe promises his wife he will stand by her. And true to his word, today he still visits Mary Beth in prison.
I can't understand how any man would go back to a woman who'd do that. But there he is after 23 years, still visiting her in jail, still saying that he'll provide a home for her if and when she comes out.
Mary Beth is now eligible for parole, but so far it has been denied.
What sticks out mostly in my mind was how anybody could do that, you know, to their children, how anybody could do that to their husband. How could you be driven that far to kill another human being? I don't know.
Mary Beth Tinning is everything a mother should not be. Thank God she's locked away.
A little boy is missing his father. He hasn't seen him for days.
Bradley, get out of that dirt.
Mom, I'm having fun.
No, get out of that dirt.
But Daddy is much closer than he thinks. In Houston, Texas, early in her life, Susan Wright is a carefree woman.
Two pictures emerge of Susan. Yes, she was a topless dancer, but people also described her as sort of your hometown girl. She was a cheerleader, that she wasn't this sort of trashy person.
After a short stint in a strip joint, Susan becomes a waitress and beguiles the man of her dreams, Jeff Wright.
They had a very romantic and intense courtship, and he showered her with presents. They married when she was pregnant with their son.
She's quite the cook, ain't she?
In 1999, the Wright household is a picture of happiness. Charming Susan, the perfect host.
Thanks all for coming.
Susan felt that she had to present this sunny picture to the rest of the community.
She would participate in gatherings in the neighborhood. She had friends in the neighborhood.
But very early in the marriage, Susan is unhappy.
Susan and Jeffrey's marriage started out sweet and loving and tender. It did not end up that way.
Jeff is not measuring up as her ideal husband.
Woo-hoo! Look at that! Look at that! Look at that ass, man! That's the girl.
Jeffrey had a real dark side. Jeffrey had a drug problem, but said he had it under control.
Bring it on! Come on! I told you this place is great, man.
People said that he continued to do drugs, including crack cocaine, that he would go off and have these threesomes with strippers, that he was an abusive husband.
Okay. Come to daddy.
Home becomes a battlefield. Husband and wife, the combatants.
What the hell have you been doing all day?
Raising two children?
Susan claimed that Jeffrey constantly criticized her, that the house had to be in perfect condition all the time.
Where's my dinner?
It's in the oven.
I'm sick of working all day, working hard for this family while you sit on your fat ass watching soap opera.
You call getting drunk working, do you?
And she tried to comply.
You had a problem with me having a few drinks after work, haven't you?
A few drinks? What a joke. You're a drunk.
According to Susan, their relationship became at first verbally abusive, and then Jeffrey became physically abusive.
I hate you.
You just try it and see what happens.
But if Susan's being abused, she never tells the police.
There were never any official reports made by Susan alleging any abuse or violence between her and Jeff.
He's gonna hit me again.
Susan says she couldn't leave him because as a Christian, she didn't believe in a divorce, and she also feared that he would take away their children.
What can I do?
To Susan, there is only one way out. On the night of January 13th, 2003, Susan will be the dominant one. She is luring Jeff into a trap.
I don't think that Jeff wanted a divorce or wanted out, but I believe Susan probably did, at least that night.
She is not making love to her husband.
You do this more often, huh?
She is taking control.
Kinky, ain't it? you gonna do with that?
She was really angry.
Ah! What are you doing with that phone? Get it off me!
In Houston, Texas, married couple Jeff and Susan Wright are good at keeping secrets.
Cook, ain't she?
Nobody knows their marriage is in trouble.
Jeff was proud of his relationship, and as well as Susan, they both defended their relationship during any kinds of troubled times, according to their families.
You call getting drunk working, do you?
This started out as a very passionate relationship, but became a very controlling one, allegedly.
I will hate you.
You just try it and see what happens.
Susan now wants to take control permanently. The bondage is not for kinky thrills.
Ah! What are you doing with that phone?
Candle wax had been melted and dripped on Jeffrey's scrotum.
What are you doing? Susan! Susan, what are you doing? Susan! No!
The first place Susan stabbed Jeffrey was in the eye, followed by many more stab wounds in the face and neck.
Susan does more than stab her husband. She attempts to annihilate him.
Our face is our personality. It's our essence. She wanted it destroyed.
But they are not alone in the house.
There was a knock on the bedroom door. It was Susan's little boy. Susan put on her robe, got him back to sleep.
Hey, sweetie, what's the matter? What was all that noise? It's just Daddy and I playing a game. Why don't we get you back to bed? Okay?
And then she went back to the bedroom and resumed stabbing her husband.
She went and got a second knife and continued to stab him.
Are you ready for some more, honey?
Susan stabbed her husband at least 196 times, almost 50 times in the face and neck.
Do you like that, honey?
Not any single one of the cuts or stabs would have caused the death. So this man's death would have taken a long time and would have been in all likelihood quite painful, quite excruciating.
Jeff Wright eventually succumbs to his numerous wounds. His death, brutal overkill.
This is one of the most, if not the most, violent murder I've ever seen of a woman to her husband.
This is an upfront, very personal type of murder. This is the sort of thing, particularly with the mutilation and the cuts to the genitals, that tells you that the perpetrator had a sadistic streak to them, or that they truly wanted to punish the individual they were cutting.
She didn't just want him dead, but wanted him gone, obliterated, wiped off the face of this earth, wanted him punished, wanted him to cease to exist.
Susan buries her husband in the backyard, their children's playground. Then starts calling everyone she knows.
It just been to boxer practice, so it was all aggressive. And he'd been drinking.
She talked to Jeff's family on the phone and told them that, he had become violent and had left the house.
He punched me in the stomach and he kicked me.
Police think they are dealing with routine domestic violence.
Oh, he just drove off.
She claimed that he attacked her, had attacked the children.
No.
And she went and filed a report with the police and even showed the police the wounds that she said she suffered during their fight.
I just want to.
For friends and family, it is a complete shock.
We never had anybody come and say they witnessed any violence between those two.
The picture Susan paints isn't the Jeff anyone knows. And within days, the family becomes suspicious. Then, Susan cracks.
She was talking to many people, including her mother, and her stories just weren't adding up. The mother started cooperating with police, and finally, Susan admitted that this wasn't just a fight.
He didn't really run away.
What do you mean?
He's dead.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You're overreacting.
That she did stab him many times and did bury him in the backyard.
He's buried in the back of our house. I didn't know what else to do.
The grave isn't hard to find. Jeff's body reveals this isn't a simple murder, but a prolonged, torturous ordeal.
197 incised wounds, stabbing, and cuts were identified. The medical examiner says there were probably more. They just can't be documented because they were just repeatedly in the same location. There's no doubt that Jeff suffered for a period of time while his own wife administered those blows. He was aware of who was doing that.
Susan confesses to stabbing her husband, but claims special circumstances.
She claimed that he attacked her, had attacked the children, and that she killed him in self-defense. That was her claim.
The jury doesn't believe her. In March 2004, Susan Wright is found guilty of murder. She is serving 20 years in prison. Was Susan a battered wife who finally gets her revenge? Only she can say.
Even if you are in a bad marriage, even if you are married to a monster, murder's not the way to go. Society will only forgive you to a point. If you kill somebody, you become just as bad as the person you killed.
I can understand most of this murder, but in the end, the extreme brutality and overkill is a little hard to take.